Hello everyone, my name's Steve Rogers. I'm a student at Western Carolina University. I'm doing an assignment on missing persons. It's a class I'm taking, and this particular assignment is on man tracking and basically using a sign cutting stick. But before you get started, you need to do a few things to make sure yourself is comfortable. Wear some sturdy clothes, long sleeve shirt, long pants, and some sturdy shoes. But since it's kind of warm out here this afternoon, I'm just going to use this to kind of lean on, or kneel on I should say. But some things you want to do before you go out: put on some bug spray. You don't want to be concerned about swatting flies and mosquitoes. Those are nasty bites. Sunscreen, you might want to put on some sunscreen so you don't get burnt. Another thing you want to do, get a nice topographical map of the area you're going to be in. But you don't want to carry this big bulky thing around, right? So if you have a smartphone or an iPad, you can always put an app on there. I use the Avenza app, and the nice thing about the Avenza app is you can track. You download your map before going out to the area you're going to search. You map that area, and this also tracks where you've been. You can also pinpoint, once you find a track or a clue, you can pinpoint it, and you can also write the coordinates down, which brings me to the next point. Always have a pen and paper. You never know. A dull pencil is better than a sharp mind. Write things down so you don't forget. Another thing to have is tape measure. I'll always take some form of water or drinking beverage and a few snacks, because when you're out on the trail, you need to stay energized. Another thing is some marking tape. You might want to have some marking tape so you can cordon off an area where you find tracks. That way nobody messes up your tracks. And then as you go into the evening, it's best to look for tracks in the early morning or the late evening. That way the sun will cast shadows on the tracks. That gives a better advantage. But if you have to look at night, use a flashlight that kind of throws a broad area of light. Something similar to this or this. It's not a pinpoint light as this one is. This one just points directly, and it tends to drown out your what you're looking for. But a sign cutting stick is simply a stick that you can find in the woods, and you place a couple of rubber bands on it, or whatever you might have. You can use a stick, or you can use a walking stick. I purchased this one for when I go on hikes and go on walks. This is adjustable, and you can simply put the rubber bands on there, and I'll show you more about this. Let's go find some tracks. Here we go, right here. Here's a track right here. So this is the way. Here's a track, okay? And then I see another one right there. So you can point out these, and you can just, tell everybody to stay back. And then once you find the track, what you have to do to use your sign cutting stick is you find the heel and the toe of the track. Once you find the heel and the toe of the track, you can look for the next one. And what you're going to do is, once you find the next track, you put the end of your stick to where the toe or the heel of the next track is, and then you mark this first rubber band at the toe of this track. And then you bring this second part of the rubber band back to where the heel is of this print. And so then what you can do is you can measure. You can measure the footprint, and you can note that on your notebook paper and make notes of it. And sometimes you can even see what type of shoe it is or what type of shoe it is. You can also tell a lot about stride. This from this point to this rubber band is the stride. So what you want to do is make mental note of how far that stride is. You can tell a lot by a person's stride. If they're, you know, dragging their feet, they might be tired or they might be injured. You just never know. If it's real heavy, they might be carrying something, maybe carrying a friend or something like that. Or maybe they're carrying who knows what, or maybe they're in some, you know, deep mud such as this. But this, you just keep tracking, and basically what you do is once you find the next track, you start. So if you're on the left foot, the next one you start at is you go to the right, you start at 2 o'clock and work your way back to 10. And so forth. You just keep going back and forth, 10 to 2. The purpose of the sign cutting stick is to keep you focused. You don't want to be looking all over the place for that person. These signs right here will lead you to whatever you're looking for. These tracks will lead you to whatever you're looking for. So you use this to go back and forth to find your next track. You don't move forward until you find your next track. And keep in mind that this person may abruptly change directions and start turning the other way. So if that happens, if you don't see anything from 10 to 2, move to 2 to 5. Nothing there, move back. And just maybe go back this way. Go from 10 back to say 8 or 10 to 7, going backwards this way because they could have went left. So always remember that, and always remember your safety first. If you can't stay safe, then you just might be adding to somebody else looking for you. So always remember your safety first. Don't let anybody just take over your scene and just track all over the tracks that you're trying to find someone. And use a sign cutting stick. They're very easy to make, and they will help you find that missing person. Thank you very much. I hope you've learned a lot, and I have enjoyed the class.